Arguably, this week has been very busy. I've got a lot of projects on the go and it's really monotonous kind of stuff. Both my wife and I sitting behind our keyboards on the phone calls all the time, and we can't share many of what we do, and potentially a lot of that isn't that exciting either. But I got a little bit of an exciting note to share today, and hopefully it doesn't sound too boastful. My name is Van Buchert, and this is Finding Frequency. I got some good news today. Late last year, I got to work on a project for IKEA. Didn't play a huge role there, consulted on some of their design process for this specific project. Wasn't really allowed to talk about it. Not that I was really locked down, but out of respect for my client. And finally today, and really surprisingly, due to the size of the role that I played, he made a public post about it on some of the social media channels, and he tagged me into it as part of the team that worked on this project. Really, the team designed a concept store that went live in a city in the north of Poland. The city is called Szczecin. Nice creative concept place where people can co-create and design sustainable ideas around the home. And yeah, so today the announcement went out, and as I mentioned, the client tagged me in out of the blue. I didn't expect it at all. And it was really a huge reward for me to be mentioned, even though I played a very, very small role.
Hi there, my name is Art Bam. I am a user experience and service designer, currently residing in London in the United Kingdom. I'm working at Deloitte Digital. I also worked at the Cape Town office, and I'm originally from Cape Town, South Africa. I actually know Werner from working together at Deloitte Digital in Cape Town, South Africa. We worked together for a couple of years. He was in my interview process, and that's how I first met him, and then ended up working for him as part of his team. Learning a lot from Werner while also having lots of fun, which is the most important thing, right? So we worked on some great engagements together over the couple of years that we worked together. Not only challenging, but also exciting. We really tackled some big problems, and as a designer, that's where your work feels meaningful. If you don't tackle the big problems, you're not going to effect change, and you're not going to make a big impact, really. So I really enjoyed working with her, not only from a sense of learning from him and learning a great deal about the design process and how to go about working effectively as a team, but as a person, I learned a lot of life lessons from Werner as well. He was a great mentor to me, somebody who I could always have a conversation with, a candid conversation with, outside of, the parameters of work. It was really, really a great time that I had working with Werner, and I learned a lot. And we're still in contact every now and then. I still follow what he does, and I watch from afar with a lot of admiration, and seeing how far he has come as well. So that's how we know each other. What have I learned about myself during this time? If we talk about this time in different facets, I think as a designer over the last few years, Werner was one of the people that also taught me to not be a yes man. I'm sure he remembers that, and that's one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned, is how to say no to eventually get somebody else and the people that you design for to say yes. That's the biggest thing I've learned over the last few years, what it truly means to take a human-centered design approach, and how important research is in terms of building the right thing, and then later on building the thing right. As a designer, I've learned to feel comfortable with ambiguity and not knowing the answer in the beginning, and understanding and following and trusting the process. That's probably one of the biggest lessons. And I've also learned that humility is important, and it's always good to understand the problem at first, and to realize that when you're working on things and you're creating change and driving behavior change, it's all about understanding that the problem is quite big sometimes and that you are just a small part of a bigger process. Lockdown has also taught me things about myself which I maybe didn't have time to reflect on previously, which is that it's good to have a bit of space and to be creative and to focus on things. It's good to spend time with your kids and your family, and work isn't always everything. So yeah, I think that this time has gotten people to reflect on what matters most. And it's a question that we never really ask ourselves because it's just chasing Friday or in the 9 to 5 in the rat race. Maybe this time has been much needed, as sad as it is and as monumental as the trauma that the whole world is going through right now. There could be some light at the end of the tunnel.
Thanks for sharing, Art. And as you mentioned, even the small little part that you play has the ability to shape and help design a solution at the end. And I think that is relevant for all of us. I mean, we are trying to shape and design the future of this new normal we're talking about. And I know I spoke to some of my friends earlier this week, and sometimes trying to drive change and make a difference seem to be and feel very overwhelming because you are working into this space of uncertainty, and trying to feel comfort in that space is not normal. It's messy. Sometimes you feel lonely. And I want you to know that we are all designers. And the scary thing about being a designer is that if you do nothing, that's also designing something, because inaction results in an outcome. So we all need to work with a little bit of intent. The only thing that I would say to you, though, is I understand the uncertainty. I understand the feelings of just being a small part of the big system. But I want to encourage you to continue going, because that's what we have to do. We have to design this new future. And one of the big things I always struggle with is this uncertainty and imposter syndrome sometimes that comes into play because, hey, we're just human. And I want to leave you with this quote from Catmull. While the allure of safety and predictability is strong, achieving true balance means engaging in activities whose outcomes and payoffs are not yet apparent. The most creative people are willing to work in the shadow of uncertainty.